Well, there it is. We've just had, Xbox's E3 has just completed. Thank you so much for joining us in this special episode of Go Live, the post E3 madness. And I can't wait to get into discussions with you guys about your impressions of this both show. Is it a both show? Is it a saucy show?
It was a both show. Absolutely.
There you go. Spoilers already. It was the bout. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. It's 11 p.m. Here in the UK, and we're working on multiple videos, multiple content, running on empty, but we've got the source keeping us going. So yeah. Oh shit! E3, man, it finally happened. And did Xbox finally deliver a good E3? It's something I'm going to ask these lovely guests.
Xbox got no games.
That's safe. Tapping into his inner pony. Before I go introduce him, though, Asa, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing really good. It's been a good day. Everyone loves E3, right? This is E3, and it finally started delivering today with some big stuff.
Finally, man. Spoilers. Okay. Yeah, chat. I'm reading chat. Oh wow, George Alvernia has some high ratings for that. I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll talk about that. Joining us again for the stream is the honorary member of the GameOnDaily Familia, who has been with us for best part of a decade, more than that. Safe, good friend of mine, Safe Zaki, aka Jason Schreier in our skits. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Don't call me that. I'm gonna block you.
I'm good, man. I'm really excited, really happy, and E3 is here. Microsoft wins already, probably. No spoilers. I'm really excited. Happy to be here.
No. I'm happy to have you here, and it's not spoilers now. It's done, and I'm going to loop around to get the impressions of everyone. But let me introduce the lovely guests, State Saeed, who've been kind enough to join us. Firstly, Aids, of the proprietor of Season Gaming, one of the best gaming websites out there, who graces us with his objectivity and his maturity tackling. And that's not. Why are you laughing? I'm not. That was not said ironically.
Because it's true. I appreciate the comments, but yeah. No, keep going. You're fine.
I meant it.
He's serenading you, man.
I'm serenading you, and then Aids is like, has he read my stuff? What's he talking about? No. We're not talking about your Cyberpunk review. We're talking about everything.
Hey.
His chair, right?
Yeah. Are you sure it's your chair? Because I'm sure I saw someone pretending it was theirs. But Ainsley, thank you so much for joining us, man. How are you?
Yeah, no, man, I'm good. It's been a hell of a day, man. I am super excited. So, this is a hell of a time to talk with you guys, man. Let's get into it.
Absolutely, man. I'm hyped. And last but certainly not least is a gentleman I met on your show, Ainsley. And since then, we've been creating dank memes together. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the proprietor of the Backlog Chronicles, the guy who doesn't like to hold back, which is why we love inviting him here over and over again. The unfiltered Dr. Mo, aka Mokwaba. How are you, sir?
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. Great freaking weekend. What is it?
The tip of something. What are you wearing? Is that a Source shirt?
Oh yeah, man. I gotta represent you guys, man. Of course.
Look at that. Indoctrination has begun. The indoctrination.
Oh man, of course.
We are one with the Source.
Sound like the Borg there, but yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all, gents, for joining us. And wow, Zaisa Gona, thank you so much for becoming a GameOnDaily Elite member. You get access to behind the scenes footage. You help support us in this medium, and we have a lot of content coming our way. But thank you so much, man. It means a lot for your support. And I'm reading the chat. Yeah, so let's go straight into the source. Let's just go to Xbox and E3 just happened, man. And for weeks on end, we were talking about whether Xbox deliver, and we cast a very critical eye on it. A lot of us come from a position of passion because we want Xbox to do well, and typically Xbox has faltered in that region, trying to kind of maintain and reach, attain the massive levels of hype and expectations that we set. We have a certain expectation, a certain bar, quality bar, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Xbox has typically struggled to reach that bar. And this year, there was a lot of expectations because people see there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of ammo for Xbox. Why can they not deliver? And before I get into the guests, I just want to very quickly, it's not about me, it's about you guys, right? I just want to say Xbox delivered some sauce because today's sauce was so saucy and for so many different reasons, but I can't wait to get into it. I'm so happy. You understand? Ace, after it was done, was saying to me, "Oh, Gaz, you typically hate their shows," but I was very, very happy, very, very happy. And but it's not about me. I'll explain why, but then let me find out from the guest. Let me find out in no particular order. Ainsley, sir. What? Forget everything I said and all the hype and the build-up I've said. What were your honest impressions of how Xbox fared generally at E3 today?
I seriously think this is the best show they've ever done. 100%.
I agree.
This show, you already said it, right? We've been talking about Xbox kind of killing it and needing to deliver for a few years now, and they've kind of hit some high marks, but they've never kind of hit that peak that we've really been looking for, right? And as we watched this show, I was in a party with Mo and a bunch of other guys. We were watching it together, actually talking, and we were like sitting there like, holy shit, this show is crushing it, right? And then we look down and there's still 45 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is crazy. And no, I absolutely loved it. I know we're going to talk about some of the individual pieces, but there's a couple reasons why. Yeah. One, they showed just a ton of games. The format was very strong, right? They had a couple key members of the Xbox teams come out, but overall, really nothing that kind of delayed the games. A ton of Game Pass announcements, right? 27 games launching in Game Pass, which is absurd, including some big announcements and surprises. One of the big things I look for in big shows too, right, is variety. Like, are you kind of hitting all the genres? Are you kind of hitting games for everyone? And what we've heard about Xbox in particular for a long time now is they're very kind of narrow focused, right? And when you look at the show, and I've watched the damn showcase twice already. I already watched it a second time in 4K. When you look at the show, right, you think about the Starfield, the Halo. Of course, we knew those were coming, right? But then you look at like Psychonauts 2, and you look at, all these other games that are just from like Slime Rancher 2 all the way up to like, announcing new IPs, AAA IPs from Arcane and Avalanche and those things. And it's just, it was a fantastic show. Good pacing, good content, something for everyone. No real big down periods. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know how you do better than that. For me, it's like a 9.5, and the only reason it's a half is because the only way I think you could be better is if you dropped a huge new IP that obviously didn't leak, which is hard to do nowadays. But a huge new IP with gameplay. Something that just comes out and says, okay, here's something you've never seen. Here's gameplay, and it's coming in 6 months.
Like Anthem, except not shit.
But you know what I mean? Man. I mean, and even that's almost being nitpicky, right? Like, I mean, the show was great. It was great.
It really was, and there was so much positivity. We'll have our impressions video out soon, but we were joined by Colt. We had Safe. We had other friends over there like Nathan. We were in the chat, and it was so nice to have it. Everyone was just hyped. For multiple reasons. It was just like, yo, and then you're right, Ains. Like, we had the exact same reaction. Like, mate, there's still 45 minutes to go.
Yeah, and I was like out of breath. I'm like, I can't keep up with like how much is going on the screen. You know what I mean?
That's because you need to swim in the sauce. You need
Put those armbands on, man.
Ashu says, "Are you planning a new Source video? A new Source video will be premiering tomorrow." And the introduction is the intro just to the Source. Just watch it tomorrow, man. It's just so stupid. But,
keep your eyes peeled, guys.
It's gonna be good. Mo, come on, man. This show. What were your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on this?
It was good, man. It was a lot of what Ains said is really, I agree with it. Really, they set the expectation right away from the beginning. They said 30 games, all optimized for series consoles. 27 out of the 30 games are coming to Game Pass. Yeah. And while we were watching the show, we're like, okay, this is not coming to Game Pass. This is not coming to Game Pass. Obviously, Yeah, there was Battlefield, and then there was Far Cry 6, and I forgot what the third game was, but then the rest of them.
Yeah,
It was amazing, man. And honestly, like he was talking about too, just the presentation and the format. They definitely listened to the previous criticism. There's no fluff. There's none of that freaking scripted garbage with people who look like they're barely playing video games but talking about video games. So it's that was definitely, they kept it focused, they kept it consistent. They told you what they want, what you wanted to see. Variety was there. It was amazing, man. I mean, I could sit here and go through. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna go through, some examples, but just everything that they showed, there was something for everybody, and that was something that we talked about too during the stream. We're like, holy shit! Like, there's literally something for everybody. There's no way you could be a gamer, look at this show, and look at all the shit that they showed, and be like, man, there's nothing here for me. Like, I don't know what to tell you if that's the case. But overall, yeah, man, they did excellent. If I have two nitpicks, it was. I wish they showed more Infinite. I was hoping for a demo.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I was hoping for a demo, right? Like, and I would have preferred if they showed a Halo Infinite demo instead of Forza, or if they could have squeezed them both in. It doesn't matter.
Which is what they've now said is coming tomorrow.
Yes. So
what's coming tomorrow?
Halo Infinite multiplayer.
Multiplayer overview.
What?
You gotta check season gaming, man. It's already up.
It's just showed this to me like recently,
Sorry.
And then really my other thing too is, because of all the talk about Starfield over the past God knows how long, they showed the trailer. Obviously, it was leaked, unfortunately, with the release date. But maybe we were hoping at least for gameplay, considering it's been talked about for so long and whatnot. Instead, it was a trailer. We got a release date, year and a half. So they got a lot of work to do on that. But yeah, honestly, outside of that, dude, it was aces, man. Best show they've ever done by far.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Safe, what are you thinking about that? Because you joined us there, and I know you're a multi-platform gamer, a hardcore Nintendo primarily, but you're also a big Halo fan, big Xbox fan.
Absolutely.
We've known each other. We met each other on the 360 forums.
360
we used to
magazine
buy
forums.
magazines. We used to buy those magazines like they were
actual like physical things. Mo, there was a thing that you open like that and read. Can you believe it?
Mo is the physical man. He's forever physical. He's a physical fiend. So
I just picked on you.
And this is forever physical because of limited runs. Limited runs tag, not the anti Game Pass bullshit that we saw a couple months ago. So that was
You could see him very quickly scan to see like who was young and went, oh shit, it's no one. Let's just pick someone at random.
But say, what were your thoughts generally for a format like that, or generally of the show? What were you thinking?
I mean, the format was perfect. This is how it should be. Obviously, in this day and age, we have the pandemic going on. You can't do those kind of big shows anymore. Yeah, they kind of fell out of fashion anyway. To be honest with you, before that, this is what we want to see. We want to see trailer after trailer after trailer. That gets you hyped up, gets you excited. The momentum is there, the footage is there. And like the guys were saying as well, there's something for everyone. You can't complain. There's something for everyone. And it was honestly, it was the best Xbox show I've seen. So I agree entirely with what they're saying. And for me as well, it's kind of a weird one because Microsoft kind of are bound to succeed with this particular E3 anyway, because we know what Nintendo's going to do. A Direct is probably going to be a bit disappointing, let's be honest. Sony are not playing. The other guys are, third party, whatever you call it. But Microsoft, I mean, they already had the lead, but now they've cemented themselves as the go-to place. This is for the players. This is actually what it is. Now, this is what the gamers want. Something for everyone. All these big releases. Very exciting time and fantastic show. Great format. Loved it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's impressive that Microsoft have really previously we berated them for a multitude of different things, for the format of their show, because there's a lot of fluff. Sometimes they would have done the format right, but there wasn't enough meat on the bones of that. The format was good, but there wasn't enough gameplay. And they've kind of brought that all together to me, along with addressing some big concerns. We'll go into the meats of the actual content on the show. But Asa, what are your thoughts on What were your expectations for Microsoft? Did they meet those expectations, and were you pleasantly surprised by their performance at E3?
Yeah, so you know me. I'm a robot. I struggle to understand these human emotions that you're all talking about. But I use Gaz as a barometer for all of these shows. And he said earlier that I said he's going to be disappointed afterwards. I've known Gaz for a fair number of years, and every show that comes about, he gets excited like a little child before it, like really excited, and then crushed by the end of it by everything. And I actually thought it was an impossible bar. I thought there's just no pleasing Gaz. No one's ever going to do it. Microsoft has somehow look at that little smile. Look at that smile. He's loving it. I didn't think it was possible. So just for that, it has to have been a great show, right? And obviously, I am actually not a robot, and I really loved some of those games in there. So yeah, properly smashed it.
No, don't say like it's a resounding success. And guys in the chat, everyone at Xbox, we had Cole and RDX. I mean, what you have tapped into them? Their energy was through the roof. It's just resoundingly positive. It's just so good because they nailed it on multitude of different fronts, like both you and Mo and Ains, both of you said as well. They've really done that, and as you said, Dave, they've set the bar, which is really impressive. Which is not what I wanted. Oh, well, I wanted that, but didn't expect. Like I just was praying for a good show. But
that's what I wanted. I wanted a good show, but they went above and beyond. So,
and we always said this, and the show, you guys have been on the chat, like you've seen it in the chat. I've said repeatedly, it's impossible to have a good show without a good showing of Halo Infinite. And that, ladies and gentlemen, 343, I gave you so much shit, but you deserved it. But now...
No, they didn't.
They did. And it's because of us. I'm so selfish. But it's us gamers who pushed it. They delayed it. Their hard work. And their hard work is showing with what they did with Halo Infinite. And I want to talk about Halo. We have to talk about this. Is the first topic. Yeah, you have to talk about Halo because it's impossible to. And Ace is playing it now. That fly through. I wish there was more to see, but that's just got me like.
Yeah.
Like we're like, is that? Oh my god! No, that's it. That's in game. Oh, that looks sick. Like if only this was what we saw last time. But it's the journey, isn't it? And it just looks so good, and it looks so different from what we saw. Like it's not an unrealistic upgrade. You can see those little things that Asa, you've alluded to in the previous shows, that they rectify those, then game will look better. And now I understand those incremental upgrades. The sum of whole is just beautiful. And I wish to. And what's interesting is I caught RDX and I caught Fonzarelli, big Halo fan, but he's severely disappointed in 343's delivery of the story. And this captured that feeling back. The Bungie feeling back, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Ains. There's this little like fly through in this like third person mode, and you're following Chief, and he's just floating about, and then he meets Cortana, and then it looks like they're bracing themselves.
Cortana.
That's Bortana.
Yeah, Bortana. Cortana. But Cortana might be a replacement for Cortana because the way they were setting that up is like Master Chief, man. He's got a side chick, but he's like taking her kind of seriously because he was like, okay, it's good they didn't delete you because now you're my main thing. It's like because my other one's wiling out.
Oh, what a misinterpretation. Go on, carry on.
But
yeah. It's you're hurting me right now, but keep going.
You never know, man. Master Chief, his loyalty might be swayed because Cortana or Bortana was looking kind of saucy. No, but what? Even if she's still the side chick that she's going to tag along. It's going to be interesting that they're going to use her to really enhance the history behind. She'll be a fresh new AI, kind of like, oh, what's going on here? Why are you? It's going to be there's so much they could do with the story to reconcile that, Ains, with the mess that was with Halo 5. It looks like they're about to do that. We haven't seen much, but what did you think about this what they've seen? What you saw with this?
Yeah, so you guys know I'm a Halo fanatic. So the one aspect of Halo 5, I think many of us, I'd say the majority agree, right, is the narrative was disjointed. And they didn't deliver. They didn't focus on Chief as the hero. There's a lot of mistakes they made. I said yesterday on our show, what I want to see out of E3 is I want to see them two things. I need multiplayer overview, right? And then I need to see them reset the narrative around what the story is going to be. And they can do that by doing two things, focusing on Chief and letting us know where Cortana is in this new universe they've set up. And they did that. I'm surprised. I get a lot of things wrong, but I got that one right at least. So I'm really excited because of two things. One, like I said, they focus on Chief. And if you listen carefully to the way they speak about this, Joseph Staten said, this is Chief's story. Yeah. And right away, he's telling you before they even showed the gameplay, look, we heard you. This story's about Chief, and you are Chief. Yeah. They made that very clear. By the way, if you haven't gone back and watched this in 4K, not the live stream, but actual 4K, it's stunning. The other thing is they set up, obviously, the relationship, the shadowing's very similar to Halo 3 with Cortana and Chief and kind of what he's hearing in his kind of mental state of where he is, which is really interesting. And I think for, kind of guys like me who have been with Halo since the very first day and Die Hard, that really meant a lot. Like I was like getting like choked up watching that trailer. The other thing you mentioned about the new AI and kind of help, wherever this is in the story. I think this is later in the story because if you notice, when you go back and look at the campaign, his armor at that point in it is beat to hell. It's literally like torn up, like it's a mess. It's not like he's been shown in the other trailers when they're first going to Zeta Halo. So my guess is that that's got some narrative connotation there. I'm sure the Halo guys on YouTube are already breaking this down like 100 different ways. But that's just what I've picked up so far. I've got a lot to kind of dig into it. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the multiplayer because I'm so fucking excited for multiplayer.
Look at it. Look how good it is.
God.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Halo multiplayer has meant so much to me in my gaming life. I was a Halo tournament player in 1 and 2, and Mo has heard me too many times going about Halo multiplayer and seeing the Valhalla remake right here and Capture the Flag and oh my God, just the vehicles, and I'm just like so excited. So I thought the show was, long story short, I thought they did exactly what they should have done with Halo in this show, because they took about 5 minutes total, 6 minutes total. Yeah. A lot of people are like, I really wanted a deep dive on Infinite. And it's like, well, you could have done that. But there's the problem with a game like Infinite, right, is it's so deep and there's so much you have to show, especially for fans like me. You can't do that in the middle of a conference. You just can't. It has to be its own thing. So this 2-minute multiplayer trailer, I've watched it like 6 times now. There are so many little Easter eggs for fans who know kind of what to look for, right? There's like, here is a reference to Hayabusa armor from Halo 3 at the end. He throws the plasma grenade and launches the sword to himself. You can hear the classic Halo announcer is back for Halo Infinite. You can hear him in the trailer. I mean, I could go on and on. You hear me getting all excited. Like, I thought they did exactly what they needed to do with Halo for this show. We've got the overview coming tomorrow, which is where they'll go deeper in the multiplayer. And I'm glad that they've heard and they know that this needs to focus on Chief and get back to the core of what makes a Halo campaign a Halo campaign.
Man. That absolutely nailed it.
Sorry, guys.
No, dude. That was poetry, man.
That was poetry. We were hanging on your every word there. Don't have to apologize 100%, there.
100%.
Max City, Max City, and thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It says, love Halo Infinite. They knocked it out of the park. I'm excited. Forza Horizon was beautiful. We're going to that. Stalker 2 is a must-play. Games, and more games is what we asked for. And you're right about, man, I can't wait to get into the other games as well. Mariana Pompa, thanks so much for being supportive of the channel.
My man, Pompanator.
Holla at your boy Poppy goes, let's get ready for the infinite teabagging, boys. Yeah, the physics look pretty good. If you see the head going backwards, the teabag's going to be glorious.
I'm already stretching.
Yeah, I hear you're pretty good on Halo. We need to team up. Love you guys. Great show. Hashtag the sauce. Thank you so much, man. And yeah, man, like you nailed it, man. The homage to Halo 3, it was all there. The announcement, the core of Halo, like we all talk about, and we're so critical because we're big Halo fans, and we're like, oh, that multiplayer better bang, right? But we don't know what that actually means, like in our head. But for having such lofty expectations, sometimes unfair, because we love it so much, it comes from a position of passion. Then to smash your expectations, to have your jaw drop at the multiplayer, in this day and age, right? How many Halo iterations have we seen? At this day and age, to And you have to really give, like, I have to take back my critique a bit. Well, not take it back because the critique was well founded, but it was, you have to be fair. 343 really have nailed it. It's so hard if you think about what they've done. They've gone back to the spirit of Halo. They've made the game look better, considerably better than what it looked like. They've nailed the hardest bit to do in games is multiplayer. Not only to do that, but then to do justice to its insane legacy, and then take it another step forward with Halo Infinite gameplay.
The expectations for Halo are monstrous. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely crazy. Yeah.
And you know what though? That's the thing. Like, for just to piggyback on the expectations, that's the one thing that's bothered me since August. You know, for the people that were the apologists for those expectations. You know, I know all the jokes came out about, oh, Halo's gonna cure cancer or solve world peace or whatever. But it's just like, I mean, you have to understand though. I mean, when you criticize that or when you talk about that, it really comes from the fact that you have to understand that this is one of the most important franchises in gaming. It's a pillar, right? Like, I mean, this is the franchise that helped elevate the Xbox into what it is today. Without Halo, Xbox was dead. Okay, like, I mean, this is, I'm talking about at launch, obviously, before anybody kills me. I'm talking about 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So it is a pillar of gaming. So you have to expect just top quality within every facet.
And it's fair.
That's really, absolutely, it's fair. That's really what it was. And to go off of what you were saying, guys, about 343 and they're showing today. So Ains, like I agree with Ains, in terms of me personally, selfishly, I said in the beginning I would have wanted to, I would have wanted them to show gameplay, but at the same time, I was also the person that said after August, like, why are you showing Halo Infinite in the middle of a show? This needs to be this needs to have its own state of play or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, this needs its own showcase. So you actually reminded me of that, and I agree. And I think what they wanted to do is this was just a way for them to let people know that, like, hey, forget, I know they keep doing the Infinite, the monthly Infinite drops every month, but now they're kind of like, okay, this is what we've done, right? Like, I mean, and I think they're just going to keep revealing a little bit more and more up until the eventual reveal. But I don't think they get enough. I think 5, to be honest with you. I know Master Chief Collection launched in a very shitty state, and that kind of, that tarnished their image a bit. But where it is now, it's probably the best deal in video games. The other day, Ains, the other day, I was telling you guys, Best Buy had the Master Chief Collection for $10. I'm like, how is this even possible to get this much for $10? And considering all the improvements they've made. Me personally, I think Halo 4, from a narrative perspective, it was my favorite. And the reason why is because of what they did with Chief and Cortana. Because they built on that and they humanized him. You didn't just feel like he was a fucking robot in a suit, right? He had feelings, he had emotion, he cared, and they got away from that. They got away from that in 5, and obviously everything was just jumbled up. And to see them now make it more personal, because I think they realized that it resonated really well, at least from a narrative perspective. That aspect that they went with for Chief, I think they realized that it worked and people liked it, and that's why they're going back to that. And
that's the formula.
I can't wait, man. Yeah, it's gonna.
I think 5 repeated the mistake of 2, which is that they took the perspective away from the Master Chief for some time. I love the Arbiter and I love Keith David, the voice actor. Brilliant character, but don't take the focus away from the Chief. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now I think they've learned from that, and this seems to be some kind of culmination of everything they've learned in the past, and they bring it together. And like Mo was saying, like, Halo is iconic. It is Xbox. Okay, he is the icon of Xbox, and it's been there since day one with Halo, and it's cemented itself as one of the main franchises that people actually look forward to. So we have a right to be excited and a right to be disappointed if it doesn't reach expectations, but they've done it this time. And I'm excited about the campaign. Multiplayer, I've always enjoyed multiplayer, but the campaign story is very important, and it looks like they're heading in the right direction. And I'm excited for it. I think they did a good job. So it's great.
One other thing I wanted to add, I forgot, just for the multiplayer fans, is people forget now because it's 6 years ago. Halo 5 was 2015.
That's crazy, man.
Which is nuts, right? And it still plays great today. The multiplayer I'm talking about is amazing. But one thing they showed, right? The second half of that multiplayer trailer showed so many classic references to Halo Big Team multiplayer. And what people forget. Halo 5 did not launch with Big Team Battle. Right. It had no dedicated Big Team maps, and they created them in Forge over the time. But what they made sure to show here was Valhalla, one of the most classic Halo maps in multiplayer history. They showed Capture the Flag, and they just showed all the chaos that ensues right in those matches. Yeah. And that's just such an homage to the core Halo fans, like us, right? We're talking about. It just, man, I was grinning ear to ear. And I'll keep repeating all this show because I see chat saying it too. Watch these trailers in 4K. Go back and watch them in 4K, especially Halo, especially Horizon, which we're going to get to, and especially Stalker. Bring back Craig. We need Craig in 4K.
People are really going to miss Craig, actually.
Dude, I hope he's an Easter egg, right? He's got to be an Easter egg.
I think you find his skull or something.
Yeah, skull, and you look at it, it's just Craig.
Skull.
Or walk into some cave, like a side quest cave that you discover, and you see his face as part of like a hieroglyphics picture or so, like cave drawings.
The Legend of Craig.
You just pick up a skull and it just removes textures from your enemies. That's your Craig. You get loads of Craig. Andrew Wilkers, thanks so much for our $5 super chat. Goes, where is the initiative? It looks like the team has been disbanded. No Halo campaign gameplay. Xbox Studios seem to have nothing great coming in a few years. I think you watched the wrong E3. This is 2021, Andrew. What are you talking about?
Did he watch you before the Square Enix show? Or what? Sorry, man, I'm just kidding.
Well, let me just tackle that. So no Halo campaign gameplay. Right. Well, you saw the multiplayer, and we're talking about how good that looked. We saw a little flyover of the world, and that kind of very succinctly, but admittedly very briefly, tackled this whole point of the visuals. We still need to see it in action. Xbox Studios seem to have nothing great coming in the next few years. Xbox, I mean, if I can, looking at a list here, which we're going to just talk, these are my topics for discussion because we've just seen them here. And these games that I'm going to talk about aren't even all of them, because then the sizzle reel at the end after Phil Spencer mentions all these other great games that are coming long term. Name me anyone in the competition in this, if you can look at it with a competitive lens, that has that kind of quantity and just quality in terms of the size of the names. The issue is there, the challenge is there for you. I've just issued it, but to tackle your points, we're going to go into it. A lot of people talking about how good, and Asa, before I go into Forza Horizon, you are a semi-big Halo fan. You've been playing it with JT on your streams lately. Did you were you impressed by Halo? And
I mean, I was one of the few people going into it saying, one of the few people, there was loads of people, I don't want to pretend this was a unique perspective or anything, but I was one of the people that was not a naysayer going into it. I looked at the footage that they had the first time around and looked at why it was falling short and why people were criticizing it when it wasn't that far off of a good game. And I said there's like these certain things, and if you read the stuff that they're putting out in these Waypoint blogs, they're addressing them in the right way, and I think it will look great. And then they came out and they did that. I will say the multiplayer looks like a fantastic Halo experience. I'm a little bit surprised that everybody's so satisfied with it next to the likes of Battlefield 2042 from a visual standpoint.
Very good. Good point.
So I think it's satisfactory to me because I wanted it to look crisp and clean and Halo. But as a tech showpiece, Battlefield 2042 was better.
Definitely. I agree with you there.
But
not as a game, but the tech showpiece. You put them side to side because actually what I happened to do, we'll watch that and then Battlefield, and you're right. I think it'd be hard pressed to say that. And if anyone disagrees, do let me know.
But that multiplayer trailer was aimed at core fans. If you're not someone who's lived and breathed Halo multiplayer, you won't recognize all the greatness in that trailer.
So
this is why I say, like, I'm surprised that the reception is as universally positive. So for me, it looks like a fantastic Halo game, and I cannot wait to play that multiplayer. And I don't actually particularly care, as I said on Saturday, I don't particularly care for the Battlefield multiplayer. I would pick Halo every day, but I'm surprised that there's no noise about visuals.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about Battlefield in a bit as well. But we have to talk about something incredible looking. It's Forza Horizon, man. Forza Horizon, I knew it was going to look good. We all knew it was going to look good because Playground Games are supremely talented. But they've gone above and beyond the call here because I did not expect. I expected an iterative game that's going to look impressive. Always. Go back to Forza Horizon 4, that looks great as well. But this is kind of like the telemetry and the geology of it. Mexico, man. I'm not even lying. That game makes me want to go there ASAP because it just looks beautiful. And Forza Horizon 4 was set in the UK. So it's kind of like, it's just raining all the time.
I'm driving to work again.
Yeah. Not driving to work. But Mexico, man. That game is going to do well for tourism in Mexico because that game looks stunning. But Ains, and it's playing on stream right now. Thanks to Acer. It's just game, man. This looks like a Forza Motorsport in some bits. Like, that quality is just, these... Man, sorry, I'm just fanboying here, but I'm just like, I look at this and I'm thinking, Playground Games on Fable.
I don't even think you're fanboying. I mean, really, because it's facts. We're looking at it. I literally posted after this. I'm like, they're wizards. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they really are. If you haven't watched this, and I keep saying it, I'm sorry, but go watch this in 4K. I've watched it 4 times, standing like 3 feet from my OLED, because I'm trying to figure out how they made this look as good as it did. As you can see, it's all in game, right? This is what you're playing, and the way they transitioned, they showed each environment, right? How they captured it, and then just transitioned straight into gameplay in that environment. And it's so damn impressive. We knew you said it, guys. We knew Horizon 5 was going to be a showcase. I mean, Playground's insanely talented. Horizon 4 is stunning already with the updates, right? But you can tell this is something they've been developing to show off, really what the new consoles can kind of do. And God, man, this one just blows me away. It's literally, I haven't worn the shirt in like 2 years. It's literally why I threw this shirt on today, because I'm just so impressed with what they showed. It's crazy. And to your point, Mexico is, Mexico people, maybe people don't forget, I don't know, but it's a huge country and very diverse, right? It's kind of like, it's like the US. There's so many different landscapes depending on where you are. That's what they wanted to show today. And I think they did a great job. I can't believe how stacked the fall is getting now, because, I think about when this comes out, I'm not going to want to play anything else either for a while.
We're just gonna have time. Xbox has too many games.
It's gonna be too many games.
They got too many games. That's gonna be the new thing. They got too many now.
Too many games.
No, it's great, man. I'm a car guy. Like, my other passion outside of gaming is cars. So I'm a huge Forza fan. I love motorsport, of course. But the Horizon games are just so fun to just jump in and just race around. You know what I mean? Just explore. I mean, look at this. It's crazy.
Stunning. It's stunning. And this is a cross-gen game, Mo. So, like, this isn't even tapping the potential power of the Xbox Series X, although it will be tapping the power of it here because it looks amazing. But
best looking cross-gen Horizon game anyone's seen.
Yeah, exactly. Best cross-gen. Oh, wow. That was saucy takes right there. I'll be controversial. This looks way more impressive to me than Horizon's been. It's completely different genres, but we what's funny is we didn't know this was Forza Horizon, right? We saw like what the hell is that in game? We didn't know it was Forza at the time. We'll play a live reaction soon. And like, this looks better than Forza Horizon. It looks better than Horizon. That's what you said, Ace. Everyone said that. Like, oh my god, this is it. And it was Forza Horizon 5. And Mo, like, are you a big Forza Horizon guy? And what are your take on this saucy looking game, man? Hey, Mo, you're muted, bro.
Sorry, guys, I was typing.
Shit together, Mo.
That's my bad. No, I didn't want my clicky freaking shitty keyboard to interrupt you guys. That's my bad. Yeah, no, man. Forza is awesome. Forza Horizon 4 is great. That was actually the first Forza Horizon that I played. That I jumped into. Yeah. So I thought it was amazing. It was very fun. It's very fluid. It's gorgeous. And even now on the Series X, it's beautiful. So if you really play Forza Horizon 4 and you look at this, it's really incredible. And if you ask Ains during the stream, I was convinced that it was new gen only. I was like, "There's no way." I was like, "This is not cross gen." Yeah, and the thing is too is really to give. Racers have always historically looked amazing.
Yeah.
You'd be really hard pressed to find a racer that was just like not just gorgeous, whether it's Gran Turismo or whether it's a Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon. Especially now, Forza Horizon is going to take the visual crown.
This right here that's being shown.
Look at this. That's mad.
I actually called my wife downstairs and said, "Look at this shit."
Oh man, that is real life. That is real life. I don't care what you say. That's real life.
Remember, that's what I said, guys. That's photorealistic.
It's insane.
That's probably the best graphics.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah.
It
is. And so the whole, I don't want to make this a cross-gen conversation, but the fact that they're able to make it look this good,
The smashes the argument that I've been propping for out of the water.
Yeah, but that's why if you really then you get into scaling up graphics or whatever, loading, versus actual design, blah blah blah. That's why I said like it's just a completely different conversation. But from what we're looking at now and the way that it looks, it's phenomenal, dude. I don't know how they're doing it. They're just wizards, that's
Wizard Harry.
Wizard Harry. And then on top of that too. They said on the series. What did they said? They said on the Series X 4K 60 with ray tracing.
Yeah, ray tracing as well. So does it have ray tracing?
Are we sure?
No,
Are we sure?
Ray tracing on Forza Vista mode. So it's. I don't think they'd clarify that it's the.
Forza Vista is the picture mode.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad. I thought that's what they said during the stream. That's my fault. I didn't hear it properly. But
yeah, I mean, we can cut some slack for not having that.
Yeah, but.
Look at it. I mean,
it still looks amazing. It doesn't matter.
Well, the point where you think it has ray tracing, that's how good it looks. It's just like, well.
Yeah, right. Because even during the gameplay, I was looking at the reflections off of the roof of the car, and I'm like, "Whoa! Look at that! Look how good that looks!"
Hey, that's gas tracing. See, everyone falls for it.
That's just amazing use of freaking the reflections that they implemented, right? And this whole time, I'm thinking it's ray tracing. So
I sympathize, Mo. Gas tracing is a real thing, and people, Ace especially, will.
Yeah, but
great.
Good on them, man. It was a beautiful showcase for sure. Yeah.
It is. Shout out to over 200 people watching us. Smash that like button if you're getting into it. We've got a lot of topics to talk about because this was an incredible show. Safe, are you a big Forza Horizon fan? Have you played Forza Horizon games? Because this really did impress you. I could tell.
Yeah. No, I'm not really a big Forza. I'm not a big realistic racing game fan. Mario Kart for the win. But this was really, really visually impressive and is incredible. I've got Forza Horizon 4, and that's like the first thing I played when I got an Xbox One X, and that blew me away at the time. This is another level. I just don't understand. It's photorealistic. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
And then when you see a still picture, it looks like, wow, this is beautiful. And then it starts moving and it maintains that. It's incredible.
That's the thing.
It's crazy because sometimes you have a really visually interesting looking game or very realistic graphics as a still image. Then your brain tells you, this is not real once it starts moving. But for a couple of seconds there, I was convinced I was watching footage of cars driving in Mexico, and it's. I don't understand.
And if it wasn't for bits like the HUD elements and the
exactly, the HUD is the one that took me out of it.
Yeah.
But imagine if you switch that off and you're just watching someone play. I bet I can convince my dad that's real. He would never know the difference. Sorry.
Absolutely. And I play Forza Horizon games like without the HUD. I turn it all off. I do that. It seems like I do that in a lot of games. But with Forza, I just turn it off, go in cockpit mode, and just drive it like I'm there. Like imagine I'm there, and this is gonna take it to a whole new
Absolutely.
level.
Absolutely.
Asa, you're a bit of a graphic fiend. You got some beastly graphics card. Graphics inside and out. Were you impressed by it? Because you've got a high mental quality bar. That's praise that I'm doting on you. But
yeah. It looks absolutely insane. And when I say it doesn't have ray tracing thing, I'm not leveling that as a criticism. It's just clarifying what they've said because the game looks so good. And a racing game doesn't particularly need ray trace reflections because you don't try and see what you can get on and off screen and all the rest of it. Like it's just fine. It looks like a photo. It came on screen and we're like, what are we looking at? This is amazing, whatever it turns out to be. Cannot wait to see what that studio can do with Fable.
Yeah.
But it's
The implications.
You know, we
are
haven't
crazy.
even seen it. We haven't even seen that game yet with HDR. So Microsoft, if you want it in HDR on YouTube, I will do that for you. Send it to me now.
Yeah, you're the HDR master. No one's actually putting out content like you do on HDR. You need to send it to ASAP. Microsoft, please do it. Please do it. It's just going to make the game look even better than it is. It's just, oh man, Forza Horizon, it's back. And to reinvigorate, because we were talking about maybe getting series fatigue. And there are still questions around about how they can keep the gameplay loop fresh. But they also showed some of these additional fun game modes, like with bowling pins and just the fun bit. And it's like, okay, this is normally something you'd reserve for DLC, but you're giving us day one. And on top of that, keeping it fresh. There'll still be challenges for the studio in terms of gameplay design, so it doesn't become Ubisoft template versions. Because there was another game that its map looked like Forza Horizon. There's
Riders Republic.
Riders Republic. And their map looks like a Forza game. But so I was just like, well, I don't want that fatigue to set in, but it's just going to be so much fun to play, man. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Guys in chat, let me know what you guys think. Everyone is saying Forza like spin fastest. Forza Horizon 5 looks bonkers. I'm running out of breath. But yeah, it's just, it does, man. And Full Stack, I thought it had ray tracing. It had ray tracing in the Forza Vista mode. I think we'll reserve some, hopefully some information comes out of it. But I mean, just look at it. It just looks like real life. How real do you want it to look? Another big game, a big game that was unfortunately ruined by Safe. Thank you so much, aka Jason Schreier. It is in his bid to get his hits few minutes before the show, of an hour before the show, and to point at the Wall Street Journal who did it. As I said, Jason, I don't hate you.
Oh, you noticed that too, huh?
Yeah, I called that out too.
As I said,
I think I should actually follow this guy on Twitter. Hang on.
Let's
see what he says.
No, it's you. You can't follow yourself on Twitter, and you're probably blocked anyway. But it's just just shut up. It's only like an hour. Stop ruining it. Starfield. I want to talk to you about Starfield. We saw in Engine. We didn't see any gameplay aims, but the premise of it has actually got me a little bit more intrigued than I did before, because I was thinking it's just going to be a Fallout in space. This is talking about exploration and humanity just like reinvigorate, finding its footing all over again in this weird world. And I just want to understand your view on it. Did it impress you? What were your thoughts on stuff?
Yeah, as high as we've been on everything so far, it's not that this didn't impress me. It's just that I think Mo kind of said it earlier, right? We're nearly a year and a half away from this still. And I like that they set up the premise. I like the premise. They're clearly, as you just said, setting this up for an RPG in the vein of what we know Todd Howard's team to do, right? With space exploration. But there's a lot of questions. Okay, like right there, as you can see, he's putting down the gun, which is, obviously insinuates some things. My thing is, right, you think about, you're setting this up and you get in the ship, she gets in the ship at the end, right? And it's like, okay, so can you fly to different worlds? And what do those worlds look like? What do they consist of? Are they small gameplay spaces? Because they make it look obviously huge. And Todd Howard talked about that, right? He's like, we've wanted to make this game for a long time, but we really weren't at a technological level to where we could. So I have more questions than I think I even had going in. I like the tease. I like the trailer. I'm super excited for it. But it is a year and a half away. We still don't really know what it is. So I'm kind of indifferent on this one. I think with how many other games we got that were so like either coming soon and excited me, or we know more about them. This one was like, okay, remind me next year at this time when you're ready to do the gameplay demo, and then I'll get hyped. But it's hard to be hyped over it right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That's understand. That's absolutely fair, because Microsoft spoiled us with imminent game releases that are coming this year.
There's just so much, right? Yeah,
and we didn't see any gameplay of it as well.
That's what I was saying earlier. They did release a little bit of detail after the show. Todd Howard said they talked about the new engine that they're building. I forgot what it was called. They built a
Emotion engine?
No, we're talking about Starfield, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Starfield.
Yeah, not PlayStation 3, guys.
There's a new.
Emotion.
That's the backwards compatibility for the PS3, guys. Stay with us, buddy. I know it's midnight.
Creation engine.
Stay with us. Yes. So this is Creation 2. So they mentioned Creation 2 and how this is basically, he pretty much said this is Skyrim in space. You know, and you join factions, and he said this is a living, breathing world, and there's lore, and there's religious connotations to this whole system as well. So it was nice at least to get some of that, right? Because, I mean, he's trying to fill in, like, I mean, there's just a huge amount of gaps, but he's trying to give us just a little bit. But, you know, some gameplay would have been nice, but it's a year and a half away. And I think once we saw November 2022, we're like, whoa, they got a lot of work to do still, which is fine, right? It's great. But I was at least expecting, you know, maybe early next year or whatnot. But they got a ways to go, man.
Well, and those big Bethesda games, you know, we being realistic, they're amazing games, but they don't always launch in the best state, right? I mean, we've seen them come out buggy, so it wouldn't surprise me with this new relationship. There's going to be a huge focus on Starfield at launch, right? I mean, microscopic, like zeroing in on it. So you have to imagine that the teams have come together to basically say, look, this has to launch in an excellent state. So we're giving you extra time to make sure it does that.
And I think they know that, obviously, you know, they know that too. I forgot where I read somewhere that Todd Howard knows, you know, about obviously the whole Fallout 76 situation, you know, with the launch and whatnot. I think that really it did not sit well with him, you know, I mean, because that's it, man. Once a game launches in a tarnished state, we already know, you know, I mean, it's really, really hard to come back from that. So,
especially new IP, high expectations.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
don't say it, guys.
Starfield trailer, like it's
don't say it, guys.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
It's like when it says at the start that it's been 25 years in the making. It's a shame they didn't tell us a little bit more about what it is, but at the very least, the new creation engine has really nice lighting. That's about all I could take from that.
But you know, I like the tone of it, and it kind of gives you like some glimpses of what the game is going to be about. There's exploration, and I want like this 2001 a Space Odyssey kind of vibe.
Yeah,
like
that's a good shot.
Yeah, and it seems like you could capture that whilst not being completely random and weird.
It does
so you know these games, right? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it does look tonally like pretty far apart from the Outer Worlds, which is quite important when they've got both. So that's true. Yeah,
it's very different.
You know, when you go through these big open worlds, one of their focuses is always like biomes, right? It's like we have swamps and we have mountains and we have snow and all these things. And what I'm kind of wondering is if they're truly building it out to where it's maybe got several planets that you can go to, and each planet is unique, right? Because that would be really impressive. Because No Man's Sky obviously generates a whole bunch of different things, but they're not. It doesn't feel like a true RPG, like living, breathing NPCs, quests, all those types of things. So if they can manage to pull that off,
that would be huge.
Yeah, then you've got me. Then you've got me hooked.
And that's kind of like, if they managed to pull that off, that kind of explains why they waited 25 years, because they just needed to do something like that. And really, that's a very good point. Like, typically they are dealt with like biomes, and then it's just a texture pack or that.
Yeah, it just changes some of the things there. But if you're building like several different fully featured places, that could be amazing.
Yeah. That could be something.
I like hearing this whole 25 years thing. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Scorsese when he wanted to make Gangs of New York. He had the idea for Gangs of New York for like 20 plus years. Yeah. I don't know, man. This is like off topic, but I love it when I hear shit like that, right? Because
I agree.
Imagine how excited they are, like, to be building something up for all these years and then to finally be able to put it together, man. It's
actually, I had a very similar one. I was thinking of George Lucas with Star Wars, because he wanted to make the prequel films, but only when he was ready, when the technology caught up with his vision. So it's probably the same kind of thing right now with Starfield. Is they say 25 years in the making, but now they've got the technology to actually, put on screen or on the controller, or whatever you want to call it, what they've been envisioning. So it's technology caught up with them. So it's good.
Absolutely, man.
And it's potentially very, very interesting. And just going back to what you guys were saying, narratively as well, it looks like, tonally, it looks like a hard sci-fi rather than a fantasy or a Mass Effect. I don't know if there's going to be aliens or anything kind of elements like that. It doesn't have to be. It looks like many of these hard sci-fi movies that have come out
That's what I love about
recent years, like Gravity and The Martian and Interstellar. It looks like something
Interstellar.
Yeah. So I think we need to think about those kind of narratives, and then you'll be on the right track.
That'd be
But,
so. The
yeah.
gaming world needs it. That's what the tone.
Yeah,
will
yeah,
change
it's very
that Asus
different.
will
As
get.
for a game, you don't get that, so it would be.
I
quite
think,
interesting.
I think the way that they're discussing it too, joining factions and whatever, I really can't see it like, going and seeing all these different races, alien races, the way that you see it with.
Yeah.
I can't see that, man. I feel like this has a more serious tone. I mean, we obviously don't know, but
We don't know,
just
yeah.
from what I'm seeing right now, I can't see it, being
It's
like
probably
friends with-
rival colonists trying to, terraform different planets. And, who knows?
Yes.
But we'll
Yeah,
see.
That would be
I mean,
cool. That would be
Something like
different.
deeper
and
like
cool.
that. Hard sci-fi.
I think
That's a
it's
good
deep,
way
yeah.
to. That's a
hard
that's a good way
sci-fi
to
is
put it.
that's the genre that you'd call things
Yeah.
like 2001 or Rendezvous with Rama, which is a favorite
and
book of mine. Yeah.
you know what you touch on there too. Mass Effect Legendary just came out, right? And it's kind of reignited this passion around Mass Effect. And what Mass Effect did so well over the course, despite hiccups and flaws and everything else, it really kind of set up a sci-fi universe that is
Yeah.
really appreciated like movies,
Yeah,
but in
yeah.
games, right? And there's
Exactly.
not many that have done that.
Yeah.
So
It's
if
difficult to achieve as well.
yeah, exactly. So to your point, if they can accomplish that here and really make it feel like a living, breathing thing, like a movie, then that could be amazing. Yeah. Again, high expectations, right?
High
Yeah.
expectations, but 25 years in the making. When you say things like that, you're setting yourself up for that. Mr. Orange says, "Imagine if it feels like Star Citizen, but done right." By done right means it actually releases.
Which one took longer to develop?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
That was quite literally 25 years in the making.
So we've got Starfield. We talked about what the visuals will be like, and I said on Friday I wouldn't expect it to be a visual stunner, but I was really happy with. I know it's not gameplay, but the tone of it, the color, the palette of it lends itself to the possible hard sci-fi leanings that it's going for, and that to me, I'm really happy with that. I hope to see how that game works. Like you said, Ains, that they showed a weapon at the start, and that kind of there are going to be hostiles and things like that. How they tackle combat in a game like that would be
that'd be interesting.
but we need to see a lot more of that. But talk about visuals, we need to talk about bloody Stalker 2, man. Yo, that and that's next gen only, and you can see and feel that's next gen only because that looks insane, man. Not only insane in terms of pure visual fidelity, but I like the tone of it, the premise of the story, the thick Russian accents that are going in there, and it's like this feels like something really deep. This feels unique as well. I know we had Stalker, and then compound that with the atmosphere, them sitting around the dialogue. Although I don't speak Russian, and it was translated obviously with subtitles. It felt like it was a really well acted, and the Russians may disagree. Any Russians in the chat, let me know if you thought the voice acting was good. But the facial animations as well, like right at the end when he was on top of that building, I was like, I got Half-Life 2 vibes. You know, when Half-Life 2, when they first showed it off and you could see the player's face, I'm like, wow, but that's it. That's the best. That's real life. I can't get any better than that. So funny you think that way. But then I thought that again. I'm like, this is it. Look at the facial animations. It looks so good. Even the combat that Asa just pulled up here, that's definitely ray tracing. I don't care what you say. It's not screen space. And it's just the meatiness of the weapons. When you zoom in onto the scope, the ACOG scope, you're going literally looking through it. It just everything looks.
Hey, I got a question, man. I'm sorry. I know you guys are talking. Are you guys sharing a screen? I haven't seen shit the entire show.
Only on the YouTube feed.
It's on the YouTube feed, man.
Oh Jesus! Okay, that's my line.
All this time you've been.
I'm replying to comments on this.
Oh my god, that's amazing!
But this game looks insane. This is on Game Pass, guys. Game Pass is taking the mick right now. Like this is like feels like we're stealing something. This is mad. This is mad. Oh, look who's in the chat. Randall Thor, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Xbox brought the sauce.
He's giving me shit.
Ains, who called that Starfield opening?
He did.
What did he call it? So just because I missed.
So we did on my show. Rand was on yesterday, and we did. I asked everyone what they thought would open the show and what would close it, and I think majority of our panel thought Halo would open it. But Rand said Starfield would open. He's right. I told him, although I did say the only way you can introduce Starfield is to have Todd Howard out talking about it because he's representative of that studio, right? So I said I just don't see them walking Todd Howard out at the start, but They did.
Yeah, he did, man. And yeah, Rand is a certified insider. No matter what he likes to think, that's it. It's done now, Rand. It's done. You're there, and we know you know stuff. But this game looks beautiful. I mean, look at it, man. Like this guy right now.
I'm watching this right now, and it's not just like visually it's stunning, but when you look at the little combat when they're throwing their grenades and things, there's a physicality to it, like stuff that shatters and flies everywhere. It's like that's why it's not.
Thing's got weight to it.
I was just gonna say the same thing. Feels like it has weight to it. Yeah, which is important in a realistic type game, right?
Yeah, and I want to touch upon that. Like this, that's Asa. That's not. Those kind of that physicality and all those like mini physical, like the physics calculations and stuff. This is a fully next gen only game. This looks like it stands no chance of running anywhere remotely close to the way it looks like now. Not just pure like visuals, just everything. The sum of whole looks like fully next gen, certified next gen title, and that's what I was waiting for. And we got that at Xbox's E3. No game has done that. This game, and this is an indie studio. Is it an indie studio, or they're quite
not a small indie studio? I don't think that's
not a small indie.
Yeah, they're not that
small. They've been working on
this
for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I never played the first Stalker, but looking at this, and I'm a big fan of the Metro series. You know, so just looking at this, holy shit, man! It gave me some really big Metro vibes, and I can't wait to you know, I mean, obviously the entire presentation itself, and I know because Ains was telling me, he's like, yeah, this is in where does it take place? I'm sorry, in
Chernobyl.
Yes, Chernobyl. So obviously a lot of a lot of the culture is intermixed, and a lot of the
narrative tones on there.
Yeah, I can't even think right now.
Look at the facial animations of this guy.
It's incredible.
Look at this railgun, man.
The railgun.
Oh, the railgun is beautiful. Tasty.
Yeah,
so guys, check out the hair.
Yeah, the hair's red.
Probably even more impressive than the facial animations. That's amazing hair. Like,
what's funny is because you're watching this a little bit behind, you're saying that while there's a bald guy on screen.
No, but it's so good. The graphics, you can see the stubble of his hair. Like, no, I'm joking. I'm talking about the guy on the rooftop. Or these guys by the campfire. I'm just watching the YouTube stream. I don't know where it is. No.
Yeah, I mean the railgun design looks.
This very friendly looking Russian bloke over here, you know.
And then there's this... Oh wait, that's Ainsley.
I'm bald, I'm pasty. It works, you know.
Well, we're jumping up from one next gen only visual heavyweight to a cross gen game, which didn't really look like a cross gen game because Battlefield 2042 just looked stunning. It looked amazing. And that was in part not just through raw visual fidelity. It was pre-alpha gameplay that we were shown, which is weird. Like, why are you showing that now? This is supposed to come out soon, right? But it still looked impressive, which goes to show that they will deliver on the visuals front. They always do. DICE, I've got a video in the works about Battlefield 2042, but DICE always really push it. But the spectacle in this game, like Ains, like, when are we gonna get time to play all these? Look, there's so many good games.
It's ridiculous.
The problem is, to be good at multiplayer games, like, you have to spend time on them, right?
I'm telling you, and my problem is I'm like a very competitive person. Don't ask Mo. He'll tell you some stories, but I'm ultra competitive. And I live and breathe in these competitive shooters. And Halo's #1, always will be for me. But if there's a #2, it's Battlefield. Yeah. And so the fact that we're probably getting them a few weeks apart for the first kind of really, really new entries in years for each of them, because 5 was a letdown. I already told guys, like, I don't know how I'm going to keep my job, like, because there's just so much, and it's the scale of this. I think is obviously what they're showing off here, right? The 128 players, broad scale, and it's just it looks epic, man. I just the one thing with DICE, their scale is always beautiful, but they are PC first development wholeheartedly, always have. And what we've seen in the past with several Battlefields is they don't always launch in the best state, whether it be server issues, UI issues, a number of things. So my big thing is, please just launch well. Let me turn on that game on day one, and everything connect, and I can play with no issue properly. If they nail that, then they've got to hit right here when he switches the attachments, like in real time.
That is so cool.
That's so cool.
A lot of games are going to copy that because that looks really intuitive.
No doubt. No doubt. So there's a lot of things here, right? Like obviously they're showing the scale. Eventually, in a minute here, he jumps off the building, and you can just see the war happening in front of you, and it's awesome. Man. I think, between this and Halo, again, guys, I don't know where I'm going to find the time.
We're spoiled for choice, aren't we?
It's crazy, especially us old guys like me, right? Like you used to think you'd get like one big game in a fall and you beat it in about 10 hours, and now it's like
one AAA game, maybe one or two a year.
Yeah,
back in the N64 days,
Exactly. Like
and now we've come a long way,
Yeah.
How do you think the sandstorms are going to affect the gameplay though in multiplayer? Because they look really impressive, but does it affect the multiplayer map? I'm not a big Battlefield guy, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, supposedly it does. Supposedly, and what the big thing with Battlefield we were talking about in our chat is destruction. Like right here where they start to blow out some pillars. So it really depends how they implement it. But I mean, so far what I've seen today and heard from the devs, it looks and sounds really good. I just need it to launch well, and I'm very curious. I said previously, okay, there's no way it's 128 players on old consoles, right? It'll be with 32 on 32. They've already confirmed that. They've already confirmed it's smaller maps. So I don't know if you guys remember when Battlefield 3 launched.
Yep.
There were different ports of the game, right? And the lower end ports were really poor.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah, so I get the money aspect. It's EA. I get all that. I don't. You look at what we just looked at, and you think a 2013 Xbox One is going to try and run that. Like, it's going to literally melt into a puddle on your desktop. I don't get it. So.
Yeah, I don't get it either. And we've seen Battlefield really be badly. You're right. PC first, and it should be in a way. But and the PC version's comparatively completely well, other than Battlefield, like for instance 4, and that launch, that shaky launch, really did damage to play.
There was weeks where Battlefield 4 was pretty unplayable, literally unplayable.
Yeah. And me and my friend, we bought it on PS4, and we tried, we gave it so much benefit of the doubt, to the point we just lost hope in it. Well, not hope, but we just kind of got, that's it. And it's such a shame because it's such a good game. When it started working, the game was good.
Saying that about DICE though being PC first, I would also say that they are responsible for some of the absolute best looking console games of the last generation.
100%.
Absolutely, that's true.
You're right.
You look at that, then you have to draw comparisons with Call of Duty, right? There's this meme that in COD a window breaks, and this whole sandstorm and just affecting physics and stuff. And every time I see Battlefield and DICE do their thing, I just think they just take it to another level. And it's kind of like they deserve more attention than something like Call of Duty in terms of player numbers, in terms of how refined the game is, in my opinion. But people have different.
I've always liked Battlefield better. It's just Battlefield is, they used to call them Battlefield moments. You remember that? Because it was like just utter chaos where like 20 things would happen in a row. And they used to call them, they used to advertise them as Battlefield moments. And that's what I love about that game. It's just you never know what the hell is going to happen from one minute to the next because so many things can happen.
Yeah, we've had iconic moments like woven into that trailer, including the Rendezvous.
The Rendezvous. Yeah, exactly. It's a legendary clip, right, of the guy doing that. So.
Yes. And that's just an epic moment. And there's so many. There's so many. I've created so many in this game, and looks like it's going to bring it back. And I'm so glad it brought it back to modern day, because I actually sat away from Battlefield 1 and 5. I'm not a fan of the old World War, but that's just me. But this is going to bring it back in a big way. I just pray like you aimed. It works day one.
Yeah, please just work.
Just works day one. But it looks good. Faisal, thanks so much for the £5 super chat. Because it's crazy to think Xbox E3 was a low-key flex. The gameplay shown was definitely impressive, and they haven't even shown any of their big hitters, and that's the big part. That's the crazy bit. Forza Horizon 5, man. And yeah, that it's mad. It's such a good E3. Look, I'm not even halfway through the list. I'm mindful of the time. Let's talk about Redfall. Redfall was the last game. I don't bring that up. People in the chat, Redfall, if you may don't know that, because it's a new IP being made by
Arcane Austin.
Arcane Austin. That's it. That's it. And we didn't see any gameplay for it. But what a lot of people, we said, like, right, Safe, that we said this looks really imaginative. Like, it looks good, even in CGI.
Very creative.
Very creative. That's the thing, and it's really hard to do that because you know people create characters. They're like like a Knockout City is a great game, but I thought love that game, addicted to it. But like the character designs are like, come on, you could have done something better. Whereas they do a 4-player co-op and it seems generic. In this, it's about vampires. It's 4-player co-op. The players, they look interesting. They don't, they have all these like checklists of what the players should be like, but in doing so and trying to mark that up, they just kind of lose the soul of it. But this game oozes some like real quality
style. Yes, it's got a very distinctive style too, I think.
Yeah, and then yeah, exactly. The style is really good. It's oozing style. These characters that we barely know because of how short this is, you're already like, okay, I'm liking all of these characters. This could be something big. Ains, we haven't seen any gameplay for it, but what are your expectations for Redfall? They explain it as either single player or co-op game, but this was leaked a few weeks before actual reveal.
The whole Omen thing, right? Starting to get talked about, and Arcane. You guys kind of nail it with the art direction, right? Arcane, I just love Arcane, one of my favorite studios. I love Prey. I love everything that studio makes. I'm really looking forward to Deathloop. They have a unique way they make games. I need to know more about this because it's got vibes kind of like a co-op, story driven thing, but then it says there's single player as well. So how does that work? Is it jump in, jump out? Is there PvP? Does anyone know?
No idea.
We don't know.
I have
no idea. So anyway, the trailer's really cool. I agree with you guys. I love the art direction. I love the thought of mixing the vampires and unique characters. And I really liked what I saw here. This goes back to what I said at the beginning. It's like I actually guessed correctly. They're going to end on new IP, which I'm glad they did. It was cool to see. But again, I need to know more of exactly what to expect. Everything they showed is fantastic, but I don't know how this translates to story, direction, gameplay, etc.
I think it's quite strong on the story because I'm just reading up on it now.
And I haven't. So if there's details, let me know.
Yeah, there's quite a few details. It says, where is it? You can upgrade. Vampires are constantly evolving, develop more powerful abilities. You got 4 characters. They have names. They got different abilities: telekinesis, sharpshooter, a robotic companion, a paranormal investigator. Now that when you watch the trailer now, knowing this, you can actually see who each one is. It says Redfall will be a 4-player co-op shooter with single-player and multiplayer options, which will be blended seamlessly. That's Arcane's press release.
Deathloop, then.
I think similar. Yeah, they've got a press release where they've given this information now.
Maybe you can control like the vampires to like release like
that would be pretty cool if they have a mode like that. Yeah, but I think it looks really cool. They're really interesting. It's got a very strong Left 4 Dead kind of vibes, but with vampires, because we've had enough of zombies, have we? I don't know, maybe.
And it's an organized smart enemy. It's not just it's not just mindless zombies. That kind of like
fodder.
Yeah, pretty much. So obviously I don't think they showed anything about PvP in the document that you're reading or in the press release, but that would actually still work even if they were to, because of the fact that look, the faction that you're up against is a unit of vampires who have strategic, so it's pretty cool. And even like at the end, I don't know. Yeah, I wish they, I wish we had more to go off of, other than that and the press release itself. But it's interesting. I'm interested. I love Arcane, just like Ain said. Yeah. Anything they make, I'll play it. And that whole booth thing or whatever it was, the one that they used to teleport up.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. That's what I was thinking of.
That was weird. It's got these little flares like that. Hey, so what are you trying to do?
Oh yeah, it's got like a weaponized umbrella as well. Like what more could you want?
That was
right?
Cool,
But we've got so many more so this year. Yeah, more so this year though. We've got so many co-op games coming out, which is really like it's nice because everybody loves them. But the ones that don't go onto Game Pass are going to struggle. It's hard to get that player base on a game that relies on co-op. But people have been talking about PvP, and for me, it's one of the worst things about Back 4 Blood. It looks like a great game, but today they started going into more detail on the PvP modes. I don't care for asymmetrical PvP at all. Like, no amount of balancing is going to make that fair and fun to me compared to a traditional PvP game. So I hope that they're focused, just because I'm selfish and I don't care about other people, I hope that they're focused on a really good co-op game. And it looks like it could be. The setting looks novel and exciting. So not being a sniper though.
You're not being a sniper.
No.
I've seen you aim and snipe.
Exactly.
I'll be the sniper.
You could be a sniper. I'm gonna have you on my team on Halo because I think if you're a sniper on Halo, then that's good because I'm close quarters all the way. But yeah, this game looks really unique in terms of just everything from like the way the sniper reloaded, she used magic, like the umbrella, the way that these powers, like even when the guy did a freezing thing, the way the scope turned. It's just there's little flares.
Yeah.
They're really they're artistic, whatever. They're really just imaginative and. Just respect, and that's Arcane for you. There's one game that I really struggled to believe the trailer was in engine, even though it said it at the start, is A Plague's Tale Requiem.
Exactly.
Because that I played A Plague's Tale, really good game. If you guys haven't played it, you have to play it. There's more indie people that made it because it was made on Unreal Engine. It looked amazing then. You could tell it was an indie game, but this, I was like, is that really in engine? Because it looked so good. Like you're talking about the same team, and even if you take away the small element, studio element out of it, I mean, look at it. It looks like CGI. I mean, does this? Am I the only one who you just leave?
I think the only reason I would put eggs in the engine basket is just because of the fact that it's been so successful for them, especially going under Game Pass and, just getting very popular. And it's just really become very popular, especially with Xbox fans. And I think, it's maybe Xbox themselves, maybe Microsoft themselves threw some money into the development for them this time as well. I'm guessing, I don't know, because it's still technically it's still published by Focus. Thank you. It's still published by Focus, but I think just there's definitely a relationship there, especially because of the development of Flight Simulator. So it's there's I don't know. I get it though. Yeah, it's such a chasm between what we saw with the first one and the second one.
That's not to say the first one didn't look bad. Like for an indie effort, it looked good. But this looked great. Too good to be true.
And then this was a really cool ending bit here because the first one, it has some beautiful environments, but a lot of it takes place in kind of exactly. It's a little bleak. It's in these more narrow, and at the end, right, he opens up and it's just this huge kind of island or coastal bright area, and it just makes you think this is going to really kind of expand out in the second one, which is cool.
I hope that we haven't seen much of it, but it's if that's an engine, I'll be happy to be proven. I'm not saying it isn't, but it just like wow.
It could possibly be too if they stick to the smaller environments like they did, because it was pretty linear. If they're able to stick to that, it's.
Yeah, there's a big reason why Hellblade 2 stands a good chance of it visually knocking our socks off because the gameplay design of it is typically more restrictive and enables them to do the good visuals. So that's a good point. That could be it. But I'm really happy to see another entry into this brilliant game. If you haven't played it, the story was really, really good. It's just really great game all around. And it ends in the little beachside scene, which is a good segue. Maybe no, it's not. But Sea of Thieves, normally I would say, Sea of Thieves before the show would start. I'm like, okay, whatever, Sea of Thieves. How many times are you going to show Sea of Thieves? But Sea of Thieves was really good because of that. It's such an obvious mashup that I kind of slapping myself for not even thinking about. But Pirates of the Caribbean meets Sea of Thieves. It's such a good take. I'm definitely jumping back in, and I haven't played Sea of Thieves in ages, which probably isn't going to be good for me because people have really progressed on it. I know a lot of people play it all the time, like Zork, Miles, Dompier. They played the hell out of that game. And this was like a match made in heaven. There's so much synergy. I don't even know if that's actually Johnny Depp voicing that.
No,
I don't think so.
Apparently he's been removed from Disney licensing due to his court battle with his ex, so he can't do the voice.
True.
Oh, really? Well, it sounds just like
Sounds just
very
like
good
him.
impressions.
Yeah, very good.
Better than mine. It's pretty good.
I was safe there for a sec, but your impressions are very good. But this, I was kind of blown away. I didn't take into to what it was actually showing. I was like, I was just kind of, taken aback by the fact that it's Pirates of the Caribbean. But what are we actually looking at here? Like, what are they doing with the additional content? What is it that they're actually adding here? Like the story
expansion, maybe?
What is it?
Like
Does
a
anyone know?
fully fledged expansion? I don't think anyone knows.
I can't remember what they call them, but they have their
Googling?
main tales that they have.
Expedition, is it?
No, it's not expeditions. There's a whole load of like story-based quests that you can go on. They have a particular name and a particular. You pick them up from little books in the game, but it's just going to be a lengthy one of those, I would think.
That's good though, because that's what was missing in Sea of Thieves. It looks quite bare bones at the start. Obviously, they've added a load of content. I always thought it's so the world, even though its early infancy, just screamed so much because of the visual style of it. That you just needed that. Now with this, it's just that's pretty cool. And visually, it still holds up to this day. It just looks mad.
I love the art style in this game. It's really nice.
Yeah, there's an enemy that's not a skeleton.
It's Davy Jones.
Yeah. It's just great. I mean, great to see Rare really like a game that was critically panned and then became this huge hit. And it's just good to see studios not give up on their titles like No Man's Sky, who come across a lot of controversy, and then really just thrive.
They pulled that back though, yeah.
They pulled it back, and a big part thanks to streamers, funnily enough, which is quite weird. Shout out to Summit, who definitely made a big impact on the success of this game. There's so many games here. It's just mad. We didn't get to see another game that we saw more CGI of, but still impressive because it kind of gives you also probably one of the funniest self-aware trailers I've seen. It was the Outer Worlds 2 trailer. And it was just like, you have to we're going to play the trailer, but you won't be able to hear the voiceover of it, guys.
You need to hear that one. There's no point in putting it up.
Yeah, there's no point in putting it up. Yeah. But Outer Worlds 2, it's most likely going to be an Xbox exclusive. And it's so funny, a refreshing take on it. What are you thinking? I still haven't got around to playing Outer Worlds 1, just time. But Ains, have you played that? And what do you expect from Outer Worlds 2?
Yeah, I played it. I really, really enjoyed it. It's it's kind of a harken back to older school Western RPGs where there's a lot of dialogue choices. The worlds are kind of smaller in this game. The combat scenarios are kind of smaller, but it was like a compressed Fallout 3, but with better relationships, if that makes sense. There's some really good relationships in the game. And what's really cool about it is the choices you make really make a difference. I know so many games say that, right? But it can literally change what characters live or die and other things and, how it goes. So I really enjoyed Outer Worlds. You could tell it was a game made by a very talented studio, which is, I think the first one anyway, was a smaller team within Obsidian, like 20-some people. So what I expect from this, the trailer, first of all, to your point, was hilarious. Great trailer. And I think what we expect, right, is with the success of 1, and now obviously everything we've talked about with Xbox and funding and development power and staff, I expect a broader game. There'll be bigger play spaces, bigger environments, more relationships. It'll probably be on a more updated engine because the first game, it had a really unique style, but it didn't look like anything spectacular. So that's just kind of what I expect from it. I'm really excited. I love the fact they kind of took the piss out of themselves, right? Like, we don't even have enough gameplay to show you what this looks like. But we're going to make it.
Tongue-in-cheek, very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, it's great. So, no, I just love it. And I think playing into that humor is the right take because as serious as some of the conversations were in the game, the overall theme of the game was humor. And kind of just not slapstick, but kind of like a parody almost of itself. And I think,
and that's not easy to execute because some people try that and it looks really cheesy and it's like, okay, you missed the mark, but they make it look easy.
Yeah, they do. They know how to play it into it. So I love the first one. I've heard from COG and many other people that the murder mystery expansion that came out for it, I forget the name, anyone can tell me, is fantastic, but I haven't played that. I've only played the core game. So yeah, man, I'm pumped for this one.
Yeah,
can you imagine if they'd released that trailer at last year's E3?
Timing is everything.
Yeah, no doubt.
Timing is everything. Whoa. Yeah. Cosmic Pro and Mike say you got to play the Outer Worlds one. It's amazing. I need to do that. Okay. Safe, have you played Outer Worlds? And
no, it's one of those games that slipped past me. I didn't have time to get into it, but it looked really interesting. And it did remind me of Fallout, like a more comedic Fallout. I was also getting maybe I'm wrong, Borderlands vibes from the first game? Does it compare? Is it similar? I don't know. No idea, to be honest with you.
Very little. I think a lot of us got those vibes as well. I think the more you play it, it doesn't too much. No, it's more of a, if Borderlands is really in your face humor, Outer Worlds has that kind of more. I would call it intelligent humor almost, right?
Oh, that's good. That's good, because Borderlands humor doesn't gel with me that much.
Okay, no, it's more subtle, but you kind of it's hard to describe. It almost reminds me of English humor, really, because there's a lot of things.
We have the very finest sense of humor, sir. I can assure you.
There's a lot of things that you don't, and having an English family but being in America, there's a lot of humor, like British humor, that Americans and other people they don't catch it, right? It's quick and it's pointed, and you have to pick up on it, and a lot and people just don't. And I think that's what
puns and very clever,
and I think that's what Outer Worlds puts out there, which I really enjoyed myself.
So Borderlands is like the Saturday Night Live of games.
Pretty much.
Sorry, but I hate Saturday Night. Anyway, sorry, American. That's the note.
Save's views do not represent ours, but they might align with ours. So, Mo, what did you think about Outer Worlds 2? Have you played Outer Worlds 1? Are you a fan?
Honestly, man, no. I never got around to playing the first Outer Worlds. I know it's amazing, just like a lot of people have said. So I do, and if I do get into Outer Worlds 2, I will play the first one. I refuse. I refuse to ever play a sequel or anything in any series unless it's the first. So. I definitely will be, but it looks great, man. Hopefully they obviously, to what Ains was saying, I know that it wasn't like fully open world from what so I think obviously, the smaller team on the first game, most likely a bigger team now with definitely better funding, so it's I look forward to it. I'm not gonna I don't want to talk more because I don't really know much, so I don't want to talk out of my ass.
That's so good. It's so good. We were told with some confidence by some people that Avalanche's studio acquisition was going to happen. But Microsoft casually announced Avalanche as a new studio. I mean, I don't know what's happening there. Is that
partnership?
An acquisition?
I think it's a third-party exclusive partnership, just like Sony does with Square Enix and things like that. Yeah, I think if it was an acquisition, like they definitely would have. They would have
advertised that, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it's a precursor to that, because there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe there's I don't know. But yeah, that's good because Contraband, we didn't see much of it, so it's really hard to talk about.
Clarity, like the trailer's just started there, and it does very much start with Xbox Game Studios spinning on the record. So I wouldn't say that one's like.
They're
definitely
they
are publishing
partnership with.
But
partnership with, I wouldn't write it off.
I wouldn't be
surprised
if that one comes out soon and just wasn't ready to announce.
Maybe there's some legal stuff to be ironed out there, because that's some people were saying that there's because mergers and acquisitions aren't straightforward like people think, and Xbox really want to get this, like in terms of optics, announced early, but you cannot do that until the ink has dried, it's all done. So maybe that's what it is. We're just guessing here. Maybe it's just a partnership agreement, and Insider's got a little bit of whiff of that and just went out. But it's like a co-op open world game.
What is it, like a crime game, like a heist kind of thing? Yeah,
so it's a heist game, and this is the Insiders. We'll have to. It sounds like it's going to be that way because there's a focus on cars. The 70s setting, focus on co-op and heist games. So that could be really good. It seems like you've seen the format here, right? The template for these Game Pass games. Where it's focused on co-op, there is a focus on things like that, which just makes sense. It's a prime candidate for Game Pass. A lot of devs are going to be fighting for that real estate there because Game Pass is like that.
What do you guys think of trailers like that? I'm kind of indifferent on them because it's like I like being teased of new things that are coming or new what have you, right? But from that, if they don't come out and talk about it more, from that what we saw, it's like you don't really know anything.
No,
exactly.
I agree. I think
the value of that.
Yeah. For me, the impact is lost somewhat. When they show you a new IP with a teaser CGI trailer like that, the impact is lost on me. It's like, okay, you've made a really fancy CG trailer, but what is it? What are you showing me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whereas if they do a CG trailer for an established IP, it's like, ooh, exciting. But for that, I don't know. It's just like, okay, Contraband, great. cool.
Well, it's even like what was Redfall, right? Like even Redfall, at least you see characters, you see what's supposed to be the vampires, you see shooting and all these things. This was just like a warehouse. It's
I
like,
think
exactly.
I think announcements like this really, it's like at least in this style, they just don't have enough to show of anything. It seems like I think the less you show, the more that is obvious. Is that just like, hey, we have an idea. This is what the game is called, and that's it. That's all we know. That's all we have. So for all we know, this could be early into development, right? Like, I mean, all these rumors about Typhoon and all this shit, with Avalanche or whatever. This all just started coming out within the last month or 2 months. Could something have been done from before, from like late last year or planning or whatever? Yeah, sure, but I agree with you. Ains. Like, I mean, literally, all we took from that was, oh, cool, partnership.
You made a good point. Actually, I was saying the same thing in the WhatsApp group earlier, that at least with Redfall, they give you an impression of what the game's going to entail.
Yes.
They don't show you gameplay, but the concept is there, so you get the idea. So a Contraband trailer, okay, it looks nice, but I don't know what's going on. Fine, it's probably going to be cool, but let's have to wait and see.
What sucks is the biggest takeaway that we got from the announcement is partnership with Avalanche. Nothing about the game. Nothing about the game. All we know is just like, ooh, Xbox is publishing a game with Avalanche. That's it. We know nothing else.
We got people talking about it, right? And then maybe
that's cool. Yeah, of course, but. Yeah, somebody wants to tell you, hey man, Contraband, what's up? What are you gonna say?
Well, it reminds me of Everwild. I don't know what the hell's happening with that. I didn't think the studio Rare figured out what they're doing with that, because that's like a game they don't know what's going on with. But let's see, a lot of like missing games in action, which goes to show how many games. There's so many games that are there. Atomic Heart. Can someone tell me what the hell this game is about? I've seen it before and I've seen the tech demo, but this game looks weird and wonderful at the same time, whilst being very visually impressive. Another game that I think has Russian undertones.
What is it with the Russian games all of a sudden, man? It's like, I mean, good for them. Don't get me wrong. In Soviet Russia, games play you. But, it's an interesting trend.
Yeah,
now.
It's interesting to see. It's good to see that diversity, and other nations like China's coming up, and Black Wukong looks good. Black Myth Wukong, China.
Got so many great games.
China had to put the sound of this trailer with it because the music was such a weird contrast.
That is really weird. When you see what's happening.
Cosmic said it's got Bioshock vibes. It kind of does in a way.
It is, yeah. It is. It's kind of like steampunky, cyberpunky.
Right. I love everything.
It looks cool.
Yeah, very steampunk. Yeah, it's weird. And then there's
very Metro-ish as well. I think maybe because it's Russian. I don't know. Oh yeah, look alike.
And Half-Life as well. Like, it's weird. That's like, it's unique, and I like to see that. I like to see that. Let's hope there's a cogent game.
Yeah, I think it looks great. It looks
really cool,
wild and crazy.
I think those sci-fi elements are really like anti-gravity, weird. Everything's in stasis, floating around, and there's like,
and then it shifts.
Lovecraftian tentacles, and I think it looks really interesting. Actually, I'm looking.
You
forward
just love
to
the Lovecraftian tentacles.
I love tentacles, man. You know me, I love my tentacles, baby.
Some of the games that and we're about to almost come to a close, but there are some games that I think really do deserve a shout. Someone in chat mentioned this, and it was I had it on my list and it's disappeared. I'm a piece of Replaced is, and oh God, man, Replaced looked amazing. Replaced reminds me of The Last
Night.
Of Us.
No, not The Last of Us.
Last Night.
What? Last Night. There it is. Sorry, yeah. The Last Night.
What's Replaced? I don't remember that.
Replaced?
Yeah, because it's like if you watch The Last Night, which was one of my games I really was looking forward to, and if the studio has some problems with it.
Yes.
And if you're from that studio and you're watching this, you must be kicking yourself like, oh God, I hate you guys, because this looks like it could replace me. Again.
Oh, this one. Oh yeah.
I
this one looked badass, man.
Yeah, it does.
That
Games
looks so cool,
don't give enough credit because people think, oh, it's 2D. Because we still have that old school mentality, right? Like not old school because then you appreciate it, but things like oh, it's 2D, it's indie and all this. But game like this to me is just giving this to me any day, man. And they just like you look at that and you're like, that's just pure art. Pixel art isn't for everyone, but for me it is. really hammers home like the like what you said, Ainsley, at the start of the show. Is just like, think about the type of games you talked about here, and this is variety. Like, you've got a first person shooter, you've got a racer, you've got some RPG game, then you've got I don't know what you'd classify Stalker as a first person. You can't just put it as a first person. Okay. Battlefield you can. Redfall, like a co-op game, but a really unique take on Plague's Tale is a third person game with story, and then Outlaws is an RPG. Then you've got Atomic Heart, God knows what the hell that is. And then you've got this game. Like, this is just beautiful.
This looks
man.
gorgeous, man. Look at this.
Combat and stuff. Obviously, we need to see more gameplay of it, but
I'm getting Blasphemous. Did you play Blasphemous? I'm getting Blasphemous vibes. I'm getting Castlevania Symphony of the Night. But with
I'm getting Fade to Black. Did you ever play that when you were younger? Remember Fade to Black? It was old school 2D game. They're showing my age now. But yeah, it's like, I think people actually made the last night, I think, maybe. Thank you, Glitch Doctor, for the €5 super chat. He goes, it looked like the Plague's Tales Rats of Power Sea of Thieves water engine. That's a good point. Like, maybe it is.
It can be adapted, probably. Yeah, that's a good point.
Sobo and Microsoft have good relationships, but that's really good. But yeah, that looked amazing. It's good to see that. Another game, I don't know if it's possibly indie, is Summerville.
Summerville, yeah.
Summerville looked amazing.
Yeah,
so if you're not aware, the studio Playdead that made Inside and Limbo, right?
Yeah.
They had two co-founders, and the co-founders had basically a debate. We don't know all the details, and they split. And the one co-founder left and started Jump Ship, which is the studio making this game.
Nice.
So this is his game, the co-founder of Inside and Limbo.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the surprises of the show for me.
For me
as
well.
People forget that they showed a tease of this game in 2019.
Oh, really?
If you remember, it was outside a barn, and they just showed this alien thing coming up out of the barn. If you look it up online, you can find it.
Yeah,
but that was the first tease. But this is the first time we ever saw it gameplay.
So good.
And the gameplay looks amazing. It reminds me of the Arrivals mixed with War of the Worlds, mixed with something else. Look at that. I mean, this is something else.
The Fall. Did you play The Fall, the Switcher? There's a similar looking games as well. Yeah, it looks really cool. They're very interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's like so much happening there. There's even shifted perspectives as well, like it's behind them, and then there's like
you know what? It's not just the variety.
This is really creepy at the end, by the way.
Yeah, this is creepy. It's not just the variety of genres, but also the art style is distinctive in most of these games.
It is,
which is nice as well.
That's a good point. They're about, like, you're seeing distinctive. It really hammers home the variety, isn't it? Because the art style is so unique and different. And that's a big reason why the Xbox show was so great. We didn't just have the Xbox show though. Well, quickly before we wrap up, we saw a couple of games from Square Enix, and I mean, well, actually, we should wrap up with the conclusions for it. Although we kind of nailed them in our introduction.
Hey, not to interrupt you guys, but I just looked at Jump Ship's YouTube channel, the company. They have 2 videos. And the first was the teaser 3 years ago, and the second was the gameplay today.
Wow.
That's all they've ever shown.
About efficiency.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they locked down.
It was 3 years ago, though. They teased the barn thing I was telling you about. Yeah, 3 years ago.
That's great.
Yeah.
It looks really impressive, and shout out to the team. I need to reach out to them because we need to know more about that. That looks insane. That looks insane. And that's it. In terms of like, I'm sure there's other games there. We could go on for hours.
So many.
Yeah, but this is why Xbox, you're going to be hard pressed to replicate the success of this show because there's so much variety. But then you've also got all these other games that are coming.
I know you're going on to Square Enix, but just a really minor thing. It was a tiny fraction of the Xbox One. They showed Doom Eternal running with ray tracing and 4K 60 frames.
Oh yeah,
just as like a tiny glimmer. Of what we're going to get from id Tech.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I want to say about it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see id Tech on Series X, and the Series S as well. Like just flexing.
You can only imagine how amazing this would look.
Yeah, man, that tech, man, Doom Eternal, man. If you haven't played Doom Eternal, just I don't know what you're doing because it looks.
Do it now.
Do it now. Honestly, I mean, Xbox, well done. We gave you, you had high expectations and really big boots to fill in. You finally did it, and this is the form. Stick with this formula. There it is. You've done it. We've told you we're happy with it. Yes, the winning formula. Others will copy this. as best that they can. You need to replicate this and maybe just double down on it. Don't change it. Just stick to it.
They're going to change it. They're going to change it because it's in person next year. So they're going to have more of a stage presence, because otherwise there's going to be a whole load of people there going, why did we come here to your stage show? They've perfected it and they're going to change it.
Exactly. Which I'm not, well, okay, yeah, maybe. But I like the in-person thing. Hopefully we get to meet, all of us get to meet each other as well. And all of you guys in the chat as well, if we ever go to E3. We need to meet up, that'd be great. We were going to quickly wrap up. Before we do that, though, we have to quickly talk about Square Enix's show. I just managed to catch some of the gameplay footage. Guardians of the Galaxy. Saw a lot of that. I didn't know anything about that game until today. I don't know if there was announced previously, but I had mixed impressions of that. Ains, did you look at? Did you manage to catch the Guardians of the Galaxy show?
No. It was rumored for a while. They hadn't announced it prior to today. But it's made by Eidos Montreal, pretty solid studio. Made Deus Ex, the modern one. So that's about all I can say. I haven't watched it. I've been so busy today between Xbox and writing stuff. I have not caught up on the other conference.
That's because you watched the Forza Horizon trailer 4 times or whatever you said.
It's true. It's 100% true.
Yeah. Oh, Faisal, thanks so much. Faisal mentioned something quite interesting as well. I was alluding to earlier. £5 super chat. Thanks so much, Faisal. He says, replaced looked like it was inspired by the Last Night game, which we said here, which pissed off the developer on Twitter that they gave him no credit for it. So there it is. It's happening already, and that's the first thing that bounced to my mind. But do they need to give credit for it? It was shown 3 years ago. Maybe they've had a development in time. Plus, what's happening with your game? You've been completely radio silent as well, and apparently there's some problems and controversies. Don't be bitter about it. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't even read the tweet, but that's interesting. Source. We love the source. But the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mo, did you catch this?
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, I did. The Guardians. Okay, so looks cool. I mean, there was a lot of slowdown during the demo, man. It was there was a lot of performance issues during the demo, but overall, it looked cool, and single player, story driven. No multiplayer or whatnot, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, they learned their lesson because of Avengers," but this game was started way before Avengers even became the debacle that it is. So, it looks cool, man. I mean, I hope to, as long as they touch up those, those aspects that I was talking about, performance or whatnot. It's got style, it's got humor. I hope the combat holds up. It looks fun. It's got some dialogue trees. There's some progression that they keep showing you. After fights, they show you some. I don't know what the status was, but there's definitely some. I think there's some minor RPG elements that they're showing in there.
Yeah.
The rest of the Square Enix show was whatever, man. Hey, man, Babylon's Fall. That
looked awful.
It looked terrible.
What is that?
Yeah,
Man?
I mean, they haven't showed the game in 2 years, and I don't know if it was the presentation, man. I'm not sure if it was the presentation or the trailer itself or the music or just a combination of it all, but I just wasn't feeling it at all. And then Final Fantasy Origins and what else?
That was basically Ninja Gaiden, but with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's the one from Team Ninja.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, going back to Guardians of the Galaxy,
You're making this so hard to play trailers.
Oh no!
Okay. We're on Final Fantasy now. Guardians of the Galaxy is another terrible cosplay version of the heroes. It didn't look very good. Don't moan about performance issues in demos of games months before release, or we won't get demos of games months before release. Now talk about Final Fantasy. Go.
What are you showing right now? Which one's this?
Final Fantasy Origins, the apparent Souls-like. I have some
there's
opinions on it, but I'll hold
Tecmo Koei.
Yeah, so hopefully like the old Ninja Gaidens, right? They said there's a demo of this up on PS5 right now.
Yes, there is. Correct.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. It just goes back in. That's it. That's Ninja Gaiden, but Final Fantasy. The voice acting and stuff is weird. But that's the typical.
It's very it's basic bitch voice acting. It's like like typical anime dubs.
So this whole thing, I'm a big fan of older Final Fantasies. This one is, I would say, the style of it is a blend between Final Fantasy 15, which I didn't like, and Team Ninja's DMC that nobody liked. Yeah, and I actually did quite like it, but style-wise, nobody liked it. And this looks like a blend between those for style, and I
This
hate
looks
it.
really.
That wasn't Team Ninja's DMC. That was Ninja. Was it Ninja Theory?
Ninja Theory, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
No, but I
with you.
get you what you're
This
saying,
looks. I hadn't seen this prior. Like I said, I haven't caught up fully yet. This looks really bland to me.
Yeah.
Very
It's
bland,
really
very
bland.
bland,
It might be
yeah.
fun to play, but
Yeah.
yeah, it
It
doesn't.
looks
I'll try it.
generic.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
It looks
just
like a PS2 era hack and slash.
It does. It looks like insert PS2 hack and slash here.
Yeah.
And the same with the Babylon game as well. That looked very generic to me. I mean,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
they
it's
tried
like-
to do unique enemy designs, but they just came across as some weird mechanoid thing, and I don't get it. I didn't get it. I don't know.
What I don't get too is platinum attached to that. I was telling these guys earlier, I'm like, dude, if I didn't see the name platinum attached to it, I just I wouldn't have even given it any attention, to be honest with you. But
exactly.
To be fair, like Platinum has historically had some awful games in their repertoire. Like they did that 50 rated Turtles game and things like that. They've had some cracking games, and they've got some other studios that not so much. I'm assuming this is the not so much, but
It seemed like a strangely managed studio. Like they're all over the place with their what they deliver.
Yeah, they are. It's quite a miracle that they survived, considering their choppy low history as well. And they are aware of that joke as well. They always say that, like, how are we still going? And that's why there's. Hopefully, you can keep going after that game. We're just prejudging it. Maybe the game will be a surprise. But I hyped up to my friend and said, "Oh, Platinum! Oh, these guys are really weird. They made it. They have some really cool titles." And then he was like, "Well, what am I looking at?" I'm like, "Okay, this is actually a bit shite." But it just didn't look amazing. But I don't want to prejudge games. It's unfair.
and
we have
it
to
also like the art style of it. They've obviously gone for a very deliberate art style that just did not translate over stream. It just looked like mush.
Yeah.
It just looked bad.
Yeah, it does. It's those color palettes as well. It looked like everything was like the bit right.
Watercolor, water paint, whatever you call it. But I don't know. It came across weird.
Yeah, in person.
Is this Babylon's Fall, guys?
That's it at the moment.
Babylon.
What's playing right now? So yeah, I mean, Xbox's show was. We had the show, Ubisoft show, that was so bad. It would set up Xbox for success, because there's like, it's not like we're like all right, as long as it's not as bad as that, because that was absolute. And then you had Xbox really deliver their best show of ever, really, and I agree with you, Ames. That was it, and that's the highlight of the show. That's the main show that we were waiting.
Yeah, I said yesterday, like, knowing off of Ubisoft, to your point, Xbox, everyone was focused on Xbox today, right? Not only just Xbox fans, but it's one of the biggest showcases of the whole kind of weekend, if you will. And I said they have a tremendous opportunity here, to really kind of highlight E3 2021. And I think they did that in spades. We'll see what Nintendo shows. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of eyes on them. But my expectations for Nintendo just continue to get lower because they just haven't. They just haven't shown me anything that has really interested me personally. So we'll see what they deliver on Tuesday. I hope they do, of course. But no, Xbox crushed it, and they've just. I think right now, if you look at Summer Game Fest, Ubisoft, Square, everything we've had, it's like Xbox is way up here, and Bethesda and the rest are kind of middling, I think if it wasn't for Elden Ring, which stole the show of Summer Game Fest, that didn't do much for me either.
That was a bit dead show for me, apart from Elden Ring. Yeah. You're right. And but it's good for Xbox. Finally, they did it, and it sets a good standard for the rest of the generation. And it was a pivotal moment. We always say, wait for E3, wait for E3. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we did wait for E3, and they finally delivered. So well done to all the teams and the hard work, especially during the pandemic. Well done to them. Yeah. Before we do the outros, do know, guys, we're guys and girls, we are doing live streams covering every day. So tomorrow, same time, 11 p.m. Day after that, we'll find out what Nintendo is cooking. But before we do say goodbye, we have to say, sadly, goodbye to our lovely, lovely guest. Thank you so much for having me. It's been such good chat. It's been so nuanced, different views. Everyone's like good vibes, because it's seasoned gaming mixed with Mokwama mixed with Safe's falafels. You know, it was about to succeed.
Actually, I got my show in 10 minutes, and Ains is joining me. So
yeah, and it's good timing. It's good timing.
No, it's perfect, dude. No, you're good.
Guys, do make sure to join the gentleman's chat. So Backlog Chronicles. We'll try and link that. I think I've got yours here before I go out. Asa, can you do that as a because I can't multitask. But as I do the outros, I'm gonna do that as well. But Ainsley, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being here and for offering your fresh perspective on things.
Yeah, no, thank you guys, man. It's always a fun show chatting with you guys. I love it. So keep up, obviously, the good work. I didn't know you guys were doing live streams all week at the same time, so I'll be tuning in over the next couple of days. Sadly, I'm working, which sucked.
I was just about to say, you're both welcome to join us in this chat because this is a really good chat.
I always love chatting with you guys. It's fun, man, and it's even more fun when it stays like this and we get to talk about all this kind of cool stuff, right? Yeah. So fun show. Thank you, chat. You've been great. Thank you very much for having me on. SeasonGaming.com. I won't go into the whole spiel. Just you can find everything there. Doing a lot of E3 coverage, shows, whatever. Just check us out there. And Safe, it was nice to meet you, man. I'd never met you before. Yeah. So nice to do a show together.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And it's a good chat. So I'll find you on Twitter because
I'm there. Yeah.
It's a Jason Schreier.
I won't find you.
It's forever linked to me now. Oh my god! Might as well change my name legally.
Isla, thank you so much. I was trying to pull that information out.
There it is. Great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Isla. Make sure to hop onto their chat. It's going to be a continuation of that and their own show and their own takes on it. So it's going to be really good. And the gentleman who is hosting it's his show, The Backlog Chronicles. Mo Kwama, how are you, sir? Thank you. I hope you had a good time.
And I always do, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys. It's awesome. Love it. It's great timing. Thank you for Safe, man. Nice to finally meet you, bro. I've been chatting with you for a few months now.
I know. We've been the same WhatsApp. We wear the same turbans, and finally I got to
absolutely, man. Oh yeah. 100, man. Absolutely. Guys, I appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you to the chat. Everybody kept it nice and classy and always a pleasure, man. Thank you guys.
Brilliant.
Likewise. And Safe, thank you so much for joining us, brother. You are hopefully joining us again. You're part of the GameOnDaily familia. So
familia, man. I say, okay, cabron, I'm part of the familia, okay.
And then
sorry, I got excited about Forza Horizon 5, so I'm in there now. I'm in the game.
I hope you had a good time as well. And thank you so much.
I did. Brilliant time. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise. Asa, as always, man, you've run the show. Do you have anything to say to our guests and our loyal viewers?
I do not.
There's man of a few words, but when he does say it, they're very decisive and they hit hard. Guys, thank you so much in the chat. If you enjoy the show, please hit that like button and share it out. It helps us out massively. We've got a lot of video content in the way. We've got a Source video coming. We've got a Battlefield video coming and more. And we've got a show tomorrow, 11 p.m. and the day after that. Please do check out GameOnDaily.com. What this is all about. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best and see you next time.